talent, young dreams. Whether it was Stevenage or Sao Paulo, the dreams were just the same. And for Felipe Massa and Lewis Hamilton, as the trophies got larger, so too did those dreams. Lewis would become a global brand, Felipe a Brazilian hero. There was friendship, there was respect, but there was one dream yet to be fulfilled. The ultimate dream will be a reality for one of them today. Will it be Lewis Hamilton or Felipe Massa, Formula One world champion?
The decisive round of this year's World Championship. And here is Felipe Massa, looking for his 6th pole of the season. Massa on pole for the 3rd year in a row. Hamilton has work to do. It's the title showdown.
Massa versus Hamilton, the World Championship decider. Interlagos expects, and to be honest, Brazil is starting to believe, but Britain holds its breath. Could the World Championship be snatched away from Lewis Hamilton once again? It's the Brazilian Grand Prix. It's the race that decides everything. So, this is it. Good afternoon from Interlagos. Felipe Massa needs race victory, and he starts from pole position. All Lewis Hamilton needs is a finish in the top 5, but he's hardly amongst friends back on row 2. Mark Blundell, at the end of an astonishing season, it's absolutely in the balance.
It's been a wonderful season, and we've got 2 fantastic drivers now, Steve, for the World Championship. Lewis Hamilton, an outstanding talent. Massa, I think, has matured a great deal. I think the odds are that Hamilton can pull it off, but all he has to do is worry about finishing with Massa in sight. Massa's going to try and win this Grand Prix, but I don't think it'll be enough.
And so many elements, so many variables that Lewis Hamilton has to overcome. Another one is the weather. It's been virtually guaranteed in the forecast we've been hearing just recently, and storm clouds are moving around the circuit now. McLaren have gambled on this.
Yeah, I think there is some gambling gone on, but, you know, it's an incredible situation now because the clouds are coming in, the wind is picking up, we just had a crackle of thunder, and it's almost like this race is in the hands of the gods. And I do believe that we've got something coming very special, not only on the track, but maybe in these clouds above us.
And this is an amazing place in the wet, but it's the 7-point World Championship lead that Lewis Hamilton brings to this final round that means that a top 5 finish would give him the title. Anything else, and a massive victory would give the Brazilian his first World Championship. There are other permutations that could decide the title either way, but a simple top 5 finish is what Lewis Hamilton's many fans will happily settle for today. The Constructors' Championship, well, that seems to be heading the way of Ferrari, especially with Massa on pole, and McLaren seem ready to concede defeat there in order to concentrate on bringing Lewis home as champion. And in that regard, qualifying yesterday has to be seen as a bit of a setback for Hamilton and McLaren, and James Allen can tell the full qualifying story.
Both of the title contenders knew what they had to do going into qualifying. Felipe Massa needed pole position so he could control the race. Lewis Hamilton just needed to stay out of trouble. Massa achieved his objective. Whether Hamilton did is open to question. Ferrari topped the timesheets in qualifying 1, McLaren in qualifying 2. There was little to choose between them in outright pace. Toyota looked fast, and that promise was followed through with a stunning second-place grid slot for Jarno Trulli, which none of the front-runners saw coming. Kimi Raikkonen set the 3rd fastest time, and then it was a question of what the title contenders would do. It wasn't close at all in the end. Massa blitzed the pole, Hamilton slotted in 4th. Hamilton and McLaren say that the half-second difference is all fuel. They're comfortable. Ferrari say it isn't, and they shouldn't be. We'll find out the significance of all this in an hour or so. So let's take a look at the grid for the final Grand Prix of this 2008 season. On pole for a record-breaking 3rd year in a row, Felipe Massa, Jarno Trulli's first front-row start since 2005. Raikkonen and Hamilton right in the danger zone on row 2. Can Heikki Kovalainen close out Alonso off the start line? They're on row 3 together. Row 4, Sebastian Vettel, one of 2 Toro Rossos in the top 10, and Nick Heidfeld. It's Sebastian Bourdais and Timo Glock making up row 5. Nelson Piquet almost made it into the top 10, but just missed out. Same story for Mark Webber. Kubica again complained of a lack of grip in qualifying. David Coulthard starts his final Grand Prix from 14th. Barrichello and Nakajima again out-qualify their teammates, Jenson Button and Nico Rosberg respectively. And at the back of the grid for the final time this season, Fisichella and Sutil.
If we are will-to-will with Felipe at the first corner and I am on the inside, I won't give up because I want to be there. But on the other hand, I don't want to try and make any risk against anyone, Felipe or Lewis. I just want to let them play their cards.
I'm in a third place. It's a good place to start. I prefer that rather than second place. It should be quite a good place. I say on a clean side, and we usually have a good start.
You've made no secret of the fact that you'd prefer to see Felipe winning the championship. Do you see yourself playing any part in that battle?
Well, I don't know. I think they are a little bit too quick to be in the middle of them. I think only Toyota maybe is at the level to be fighting with Ferrari and McLaren.
If I can help Lewis in any way, then obviously that's that's something that I will think about, and he's a very good chance to win the Drivers' Championship. The Team's Championship is a much more difficult one for us to win, but obviously we'll try to do the maximum to achieve that.
Lewis, you managed to keep it exciting, but what sort of extra problems do you have off row 2 that you might not have had off pole position?
Well, off pole position, it's always a little bit easier because you just have a clean sweep down to turn 1. But I mean, I've got 3 people in front of me. I could still get a good start from P4. We are on the dirtier side where we started last year, but I just got to keep my nose clean. And these guys in front of me can do whatever they want. I mean, I'll be great if I can keep my position. If we can make another step forward, then great. But I'll do the best I can to keep my spot.
I know you're trying to treat this as just another race, but in terms of the ingredients, it might not turn out that way. How aware are you of the potential for other drivers out there, not to do anything overtly aggressive, but just to mess things up a bit for you?
This is the sport, what can I say? I'm not particularly loved in the sport, but what can I do? I mean, I've just done the best job I can here, and I race for myself and for my family and for my team, and we've been successful. I think tomorrow I just have to hope and pray that everyone's professional, and I will do the same. It's just steering clear of trouble. I mean, there are people behind me and people in front of me who may want to get in the way, but we have to wait and see. I just have to be sensible and really be disciplined in my approach.
Well, let's hope it's the outcome that we're all hoping for. If I don't get the chance at the end of the race, can I just say on behalf of ITV, thanks for all your help over the course of the last extraordinary 2 seasons, and from everyone watching at home, all the best.
Thank you very much. Well, I have to say a big thank you to ITV. They've been phenomenal since my GP2 days, so it's a shame to see them go, but I wish them all the best, and for yourself.
This is ITV's last Grand Prix this afternoon. We shouldn't be biased, especially standing here in front of the Ferrari garage, but you all know that we are, and you all know that we would love to see Lewis Hamilton do it this afternoon. Well, we've got great respect for Felipe Massa, Mark, who must be one of the most improved drivers of recent years.
Definitely. As a young guy coming into the sport, there was a lot of people doubted his ability, and he was crashing quite a lot. He smoothed himself out. He's a lot stronger mentally, and he had a great tutor with Michael Schumacher, and I think he's lived up to all the expectations that Ferrari had for him.
Are there deals being done? We've overheard conversations. There's been reports of a conversation between Jarno Trulli, who shares the front row with Felipe Massa, saying, Felipe, I'll help you through the first corner.
I would like to think that's not the case, and I think that's very difficult to try and achieve. As a Grand Prix driver, you're focused, especially at the start, to get into turn 1 cleanly. I don't kind of think that thing should be happening, but, never say never in F1.
Well, Massa doesn't need any help around Interlagos. He's claimed his 3rd straight pole position here. He won here in 2006. He should have won here in 2007 as well. So what exactly is it that makes the Ferrari driver so fast on his home circuit? Martin Brundle has been taking a closer look at his pole position of yesterday.
The thrilling and undulating Interlagos circuit for the Brazilian Grand Prix. 2.67 miles, it's a 71-lap race, 800 metres of altitude here. The air is a little thinner. This gives you less power, less downforce and less drag. On board with Massa in the Ferrari. This is the pole position lap, 195 miles an hour, heading towards the Senna S. Brakes very late, spots the first apex at 70 miles an hour perfectly. Watch this, full throttle through that tight right, and the long turn 3, easily full throttle. The kart track where he started his career is on the right-hand side. He feels at home here as he's doing 195 miles an hour towards Descida de Largo. 100 miles an hour through the apex. He absolutely mashes the throttle pedal. Great grip from the Ferrari. Ferradura, watch this. He lifts off as he's turning into the corner. Over the top of the hill, he's playing with the throttle, trying to bring the back around. Laranca, 60 miles an hour. Pinarino is immediately in his face. The camber of the tarmac helping him through there. Wonderful traction, building up to 150 miles an hour, braking in a straight line before turning in. He's missed the apex slightly there of turn 10. Megullo down the hill, 150 miles an hour. The compression in the bottom there really knocked you about. Yongkao, the most important corner on the circuit, and again, fantastic acceleration and grip out of there. Sweeping now through the long left-handers, 135 miles an hour, 170 miles an hour, ducking into the pit lane, jinking right of the pit wall. This is a great lap from Massa. The crowd loved that one.
Felipe Massa, brilliant yesterday. How much it was down to low fuel, we're none too sure, but it's a circuit that all the drivers love because, Mark, you can race on this circuit, you can recover from bad situations on this circuit as well. But it's that swoop down to the center S's off the start line that really causes so many perilous problems for the drivers. And last year, how exactly did Lewis Hamilton get it wrong? Because the same ingredients exist again.
Well, I think last year was a situation where he was a little bit slow off the start line, and that could be possible for today because he's on a dirty side of the circuit. Inevitably, there's always a little bit less grip there. But again, if you get too close, and it's very easy to do coming through turn 1, turn 2, that concertina effect, and even leading into turn 4 in the Sao Paulo track, it's very easy to get a little bit mixed up in somebody else's business. Here, Lewis, a little bit too eager, slips off the racetrack, loses a lot of time, luckily gets himself composed and gets back on. But look at all those cars drifting by. That's exactly the kind of thing we do not want to see Lewis do today.
Yeah, what he needs to do, and it won't be the first or last time we say it this afternoon, he needs to keep his cool, needs to keep his head. He
needs to keep cool, but he needs to keep out of trouble. But I'm afraid trouble might come and find him, and that's my biggest worry for him on the grid today.
So what exactly is the mindset of the two championship contenders? Will Felipe Massa be inspired by everything that he's done here in the last 2 years? Will Lewis Hamilton be haunted by what happened here 12 months ago? Here's Louise Goodman.
There's a sense of deja vu in the McLaren camp here at Interlagos and a palpable air of tension on the pit wall. It's an almost identical scenario to 2007. Or is it? Lewis says not.
I think it's a huge difference to last year. I think I came here and had a dreadful race in China. So I came here already on kind of the back foot. This year I come off a good race in China with, I think, one of my most disciplined races. And I feel most together I've ever felt.
Hamilton's in a very different place these days, away from the track too. Since his move to Switzerland last winter, his life's taken on a different rhythm.
I reflect on how fortunate and how blessed I am every day. I strongly feel that I've got an incredible family. I think they raised me very well. I have great people around me, my trainer, my younger brother.
And there's Pussycat Doll girlfriend Nicole Scherzinger too. She's come to Brazil hoping to watch her man claim a slice of history. And from fourth on the grid, all he has to do is finish where he's starting.
I think finishing in that place is probably not such I mean, it's going to be a tough race for sure. You know, obviously the guys in front are probably going on a different strategy, which could be good, could be bad for them. We're in a great position to finish where we are and even make some steps forward.
They're running very light, those two cars up the front. If they think that's the way to win the race, we'll have to see. And our objective is to win the World Championship. We're very, very happy with where we are on the grid.
How much of a concern is it, though, that Felipe is on pole?
Not so much. I mean, for sure, that's where he needs to be, and you know, all the best to him, really. But you know, we're just going to focus on my job, and I don't need to do anything spectacular. I just need to bring the car home in some good points.
It's going to be so important to keep your head in this race. Has the result of this qualifying put any extra pressure on you?
I don't think so, but I mean, obviously it would be nicer to be further up ahead. But I think with the strategy we have, it's quite good.
If you're a racing driver and you're Brazilian, you've got an awful lot to live up to.
And Ayrton Senna, to the delirious delight of his countrymen, wins in Brazil.
But rather than buckle under the weight of expectation, Felipe Massa has used the adulation to raise his game once again.
You know, I think I took all the good energy around to exchanging extra power in the car, you know, trying to push even harder. And when you come here, when your story started here, you remember everything and you really want to do the best for them.
Massa's been outstanding this year in the way he's thrown off the mantle of grateful understudy to Michael Schumacher and Kimi Räikkönen.
Well, he's been very impressive this season because he was less aggressive than he used to be, more experience, very good work with the team, very good team player, and I think that all that helped. A special year for him.
But a Massa championship victory would effectively make the Brazilian the #1 at Ferrari. Surely Raikkonen doesn't want that.
I mean, for me, it doesn't matter who wins. If I cannot win, it's seriously, I don't get anything whoever other wins. So for sure, for our team, it would be nice for Felipe. But I mean, I don't really even think about who wins. We see on Sunday, and then whoever wins, it deserves it. So.
From young Carter to Ferrari star, if you're not a Massa fan here in Sao Paulo, you'd better keep quiet.
I'm thinking of going down into the grandstands with a British flag on my back. What's going to happen to me there?
For me, it's not a good idea.
Well, I've decided to ignore Felipe's advice and see what the atmosphere down here just next to the grandstands, and it is fantastic, actually. Some of these guys smell a bit of beer, but they're very good-natured, and there are loads of them. 100,000 people have come into this Interlagos track today, and they've all got samba bands, and they're all cheering for one person. Lots of different nationalities here as well, but it's probably time to declare which nationality we are as British television, so let's see what happens here. A few boos and a small shower of lager there, but all good-natured, Steve. I think I better go and get back to you.
I think you better go and get back to the pit ladies. Much safer there. Great atmosphere out there. Great atmosphere here in the Red Bull garage, because David Coulthard has just been piped in ahead of climbing into his Red Bull car, reliveried for this race, and ahead of his last race in a wonderful Grand Prix career that has taken in 13 race victories, 353 World Championship points. Quick word about your feelings at this point.
Well, I'm overcome with all of the support I've had this weekend. You know, I know everyone wants me to just go out there and score some points for the team, but it's great to see the sentiment in the paddock, and I'm really proud that, although I may not have won the World Championship, I think I've made a few friends along the way.
So have a good race, have a wonderful afternoon. It's been a great career. David Coulthard, and we're also bowing out, of course, at the end of our 12 years of covering Formula One. And it's been a wonderful experience, and maybe the best is yet to come. Maybe ITV can celebrate its first British world champion. The last was Damon Hill in 1996, and you have to say the next British champion is long overdue. Although the last Brazilian to win the title was Ayrton Senna in 1991, and if Lewis should win it today, he would be the youngest world champion in the sport's history, beating Fernando Alonso by a few months, and another great Brazilian, Emerson Fittipaldi, had set the previous mark. And you always do think that David Coulthard should have joined that long roll of illustrious world champions. And I remember 20 years ago, 1988, helping present him with the Young Driver of the Year award. Now here he is getting ready for his last race after a wonderful, wonderful Grand Prix career. Here's Louise Goodman. Louise Goodman not quite there, so what I can tell you that we'll do is just reflect a little bit more on our 12 years in Formula One. And despite all the tension that's been around the Formula One paddock this past weekend, our friends in Formula One have helped us put together the kind of music item, well, the kind of item, you know, where the main object is that everyone should lose their dignity.
This is Formula One on ITV. Formula One 1997 starts here and now.
When I was a young boy, my father took me into the city to see a marching band. He said, son, when you grow up, would you be the savior of the broken, the beaten, and the damned?
Watch the lights. Yes, yes, it's go.
Michael, many, many congratulations. You must be delighted. Thanks, Michael.
Schumacher gets his 7th Formula 1 World Championship. Jenson Button wins! Get in there! Surely the first of many for Lewis Hamilton. The world is at his feet.
Yes, what a carry-on. It's the end of ITV F1, especially after that, but it's not the end of the ITV F1 website. As you hear Lewis Hamilton firing up behind me, let's just remind you that that website will continue going, all the up-to-date news and analysis on the sport through the close season and into 2009 as well. And our last ITV F1 competition, that gives you a big opportunity for next season as well.
Now this week's competition, and for our final race of the season, we've got a fantastic prize for you thanks to Hilton Racing. It's a trip for two to the first race at the Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi on the 14th and 15th of November 2009. You and a friend will be flown to Abu Dhabi on the Thursday before the race, have 4 nights accommodation in a 4-star Hilton hotel, transfers to and from the track, plus 3-day grandstand tickets to enjoy the thrilling climax to the 2009 Formula 1 season. Here's Lewis with the question.
To be in with a chance of winning this great prize, courtesy of Hilton Racing, just answer this question correctly. Abu Dhabi is the capital city of which country? Is it A, Egypt, B, Morocco, or C, United Arab Emirates? Good luck.
Cheers, Lewis. So to enter, call 09049 596789. Calls cost £1 from a BT landline. Calls from other networks may be higher, and from mobiles will be considerably more. Or you can text the word F1 in your answer, A, B or C, to 63337. Text costs £1 plus 1 standard network rate message. Digital, satellite and cable viewers can enter by pressing their red button now. You can also enter for free at itv.com until 5 p.m. on Friday the 7th of November. Entrants must be 18 or over, and lines close at 5 p.m. on Tuesday the 4th of November. Entries made after closing time won't be counted but may still be charged.
Good luck with that, but no one in the McLaren garage is thinking about next year just yet, especially Lewis Hamilton. And this is the moment, Mark, in the garage where everyone is thinking, have we done enough? Is every sort of reliability issue covered?
I think it's a situation where everyone's got some concerns and they're a little bit on the back foot because they just don't know what's going to happen. I mean, obviously the situation with the engine, Lewis is on the second race on that engine. The Ferraris have got a fresh one in there. We've seen a couple of issues with the engines in the past with Heikki Kovalainen's car. So yeah, there are many concerns, but these guys have been very focused all weekend. They've double-checked, triple-checked, they've done everything they can conceivably do.
Yeah, Heikki, who's still in the garage alongside us here, has got the job today of sort of marking Fernando Alonso.
Yeah, really, he's got to try and be a protector for Lewis Hamilton, and they've been asking that of him over the last few races. I think today he can play a very important role. But, you know, let's not forget, Lewis Hamilton's just come off the back of a Grand Prix win, was probably one of his best Grand Prix drives ever, and I think he's now got himself in a situation where he can handle pressure. And this pressure today is probably as much as he's ever had in all his career, but I think he will do good.
And he'll be so relieved to get out there on the grid and into the final countdown ahead of this Brazilian Grand Prix, but the still no imminent sign of that promised rain.
Yeah, well, I think that situation is going to be very fluid because the clouds keep rolling in, they keep changing around. The guys, as we know, have got all the information at hand, and there's various teams with various weather reports, actually, which is quite strange. But at this stage, that won't be the major issue or concern for him. He's just going to be focused about getting off the grid and getting into turn one.
Such support around this circuit for Felipe Massa. You can see it, and uniquely in Formula One, you can hear it as well. But Lewis Hamilton, for the second year in succession, is on his way to the Interlagos starting grid with the World Championship within reach. And he'll know from the experience of last year that he hasn't got the clear sight down into the center S's that he ideally wants, but he has got a clearer vision of exactly what lies between him, the kind of challenges between him and clinching that World Championship title. Final build-up to the Brazilian Grand Prix. Hamilton against Massa when we return. We're looking down on this pit lane and also down on the grid here at Interlagos, a place, an arena of extraordinary tension at the moment ahead of this Brazilian Grand Prix and the race that will decide the Constructors' World Championship and most particularly the Drivers' World Championship. Felipe Massa against Lewis Hamilton. How would you sum up this atmosphere and the sense of expectation, Mark?
I think it's tremendous. It's an electric atmosphere. You know, as we stand here, actually, the humidity levels are starting to get a little bit higher, and the clouds are rolling in, and I see everybody on the grid actually looking up in the sky, trying to anticipate what's going to happen. But interesting that Massa's gone out very late. He just feels the need to let things flow until the last moment, and he's going to have to weave his way through the parked cars on the grid now to get to the front.
And for both drivers, and Lewis has emphasised it in particular this week, routine is so important, even on a weekend like this.
Very much so. They've got to make sure that they continue their routine, because if they go out the routine, it throws them a little bit of a loop. And even though this is all about fighting for the World Championship and it's the final race, they have a process for everybody in the team, including the drivers.
Well, we're looking down on the gaggle of mechanics around Lewis Hamilton's car at the moment as Felipe Massa makes his way onto the grid. And let's start getting a few driver opinions from down on the grid as well, from the drivers who have arrived and are ready to talk. And there aren't too many of those today. Sebastian Vettel is one, and he's with Louise.
Yeah, it's been a pretty good weekend for the Toro Rosso guys. Both cars in the top 10. Sebastian, you're lining up 7th. Good hopes for the race?
Yes, I mean, first corner will be very tight, so we try to survive first lap, and then I think we have a very long race ahead of us. Anything can happen. Obviously, 2 guys are fighting for the championship, but we are doing our own race, and who knows with the weather, it will be an interesting race. Anything is possible.
Fantastic atmosphere here as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. A lot of people cheering for us, mainly for Felipe. Obviously, it's his home Grand Prix. He's fighting for the title and so on. But you know, when you're in your car, in the car, helmet on, and you try to focus, then obviously you don't see the people that much anymore.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
So at a time like this, exactly what kind of work is going on around the cars, especially around Lewis's car, where McLaren have got this almost neurotic attention to detail?
It's last-minute checks, just double-checking everything, being inspected to make sure there's no areas of concern for them when they go into the race. And, you know, I would say the biggest issue at the moment, Steve, is still the weather. And that's something that they're going to wait until the last moment before they make a conscious decision on any little change or what may be possible. But as we are, it's dry, and I think that's exactly what we're needed to lead these guys into turn 1.
Yeah, and rain was expected to be the main ingredient. We're now hearing it's a 50% chance, but as the rain clouds recede, the temperature goes up. Now, how important is tyre wear going to be this afternoon?
Well, it's going to be very important, and we've seen over this weekend that McLaren actually have been using the tyres a little bit more harder than the Ferrari, and that's been the norm over this season so far. Hot temperatures going to go into the hands of Ferrari, but Ferrari, you know, if Massa wins this race, doesn't matter, Steve. It's all about the championship, and Lewis Hamilton only has to cruise around in one respect.
If only it were that simple. What a fantastic sporting atmosphere this is, and what an extraordinary feeling of tension around the grid. And I wonder what kind of reception Felipe Massa will get as he climbs out of that car. And the sound reverberates all around Interlagos because they can see these pictures up on the big screens as well. Martin Brundle is the lucky man down there. Let's go down for our last grid walk.
Well, he's just onto the grid now. You can barely see him for a million cameras. The crowd are very excited. A huge bolt of thunder a while ago, but an update on the weather situation is, as I'm talking to the team managers, they're changing it significantly, saying it's less and less chance of raining now. We thought we may even be starting the race behind this safety car, but they're saying the cloud is breaking up and moving away. It's a short run down to the first corner, so they'll get up to about 150 miles an hour before they have to choose a braking point. Well, if I said to you, if we said to Lewis Hamilton, look, just finish 5th in every Grand Prix, he'd laugh, wouldn't he? Say, that's way, way too easy. But today, that's what he's got to do. And why, then, are all you Hamilton fans at home really nervous about it? Because you know it could just all go horribly wrong. Let's see if we can talk to the man who's second on the grid, Jarno Trulli, who is, I saw him zooming around a little while ago. Has Jarno gone? Jarno's gone?
No, it's an interview there.
Is he? Right. We're going to gate crash the interview there because we got to talk to him. Oh, no, my dreaded Italian. Jarno, quick word for British TV. So, are you a man with a plan here on the front row of the grid?
I mean, you know, it's nice to be on the front row because it's pretty clean in front of me. I will do my race. I just want to remind everybody that I have no sympathy for anyone. So the Felipe and Lewis, they will do the race. On the other hand, I want to do my best possible result, taking care of myself, trying to finish the race and try to score as many points as possible.
So if you're leading going into turn 1, you're going to stick with it, yeah?
Absolutely. You can bet on it.
And if Hamilton comes into your mirrors, you're going to fight him like crazy.
I'm gonna fight anyone, not Lewis, I mean, Felipe, anyone. I have no enemy, only rivals.
Yeah, well, you're a nice guy. It's safe to assume you've got a bit less fuel on board your Toyota than some of the people around you.
I don't think so.
Oh, really? So you're really satisfied with that lap?
Yes, you will find out pretty soon.
Oh, well, good luck and well done. Well, interestingly then, he could play a major role in what happens this afternoon. I think that Kimi Räikkönen could be desperate to get in front of him and then just back the pack. The best chance for Ferrari today is to back the pack up, back Lewis into the field. And I'm pretty sure when Räikkönen said, I did what they wanted me to do, that's what he meant. Get ahead of Lewis, which he is, and then just back him into the pack. We talk about the clean and dirty side of the grid. This is the normal racing line down the right-hand side. Räikkönen here in 3rd place, and they expect a little more grip on that side of the grid. Of course, those on the left have got the inside line down into turn 1. Lewis normally doesn't talk on the grid. Felipe Massa, I think, has headed off, which is for a comfort break. Now, we talk about pressure for Massa and Alonso, but of course, all of these McLaren boys have also got a lot of pressure. Have you got time to talk to us? What's your role on the grid?
Basically bringing the tyres in case we see any rain.
And how many sets of tyres you got to have ready for the start?
We've got them all lined up, ready to go.
Now, obviously, you can make a big difference. You guys, as a team, you work as a team, you win and you lose as a team. You can all. Do you have special briefings? Is there a lot of nerves around?
We're pretty calm, relaxed, taking it as it comes. We're prepared.
Okay, well done. You seem incredibly calm, in fact. So, Lewis Hamilton then 4th on the grid. Let's see if we can find Heikki Kovalainen. All of the drive. What they tend to do here is disappear off the grid, and they go and hide up there somewhere. So that. And I heard Massa might be coming back down. But quick word then with Ron Dennis over here, and just for the final word. Ron, final word then. What's your briefing to Lewis?
Avoid trouble, first lap. Just settle down into the race and follow instructions, really, because this is as much as the team winning the World Championship as it him, because, you know, obviously just got to do it right, not too much.
Where's his head?
I beg your pardon?
Where is his head, do you reckon?
He's in a good place. He is in a very good place, but I mean, I'm sure he feels a little tension, but it's to be expected.
Good luck. Right, let's wander over. And let's have a word with Bernie. It's something I want to have a quick chat with him about. He's busy with German television. Bernie, you normally have an entourage. Bernie, 25 of the 58 World Championships have gone down to the wire at the last race. How does that happen? That's pretty impressive.
Not easy. It's more difficult every year.
Who do you want to win the World Championship?
Well, I think, you know, whoever gets the most points should win, but I mean, it'd be good if either of them won. I don't think you could say either. I mean, obviously, Lewis would be good for us, but for the World Championship, I think it makes a lot of difference, to be honest with you.
The crowd seemed very quiet, actually. They were booing earlier, which I think is a little bit out of order, booing Lewis, but at least they're partisans fine.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. You know what they're like. You've been here for 1,000 years, you know. But it's not good to boo anybody. Cheer, but not boo.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to try and find Massa, who's heading towards his pole position car. I don't think he's going to talk to us. We'll doorstep him. We'll at least have a look at him, see if we can see into his eyes and how he's feeling, if he looks relaxed. He looks much, much more relaxed than he did. He's talking to Rob Smedley, his engineer, a British guy who can help him take the championship, and Luca, too late. All right, Steve, I think it's time to go back to you.
Thanks very much indeed, Martin. Very interesting, Mark, to hear those comments and a fairly pointy question from Martin Brundle about how championships come down to the wire so often. And certainly, if you reflect on this last season, whether it's a coincidence that some of those stewards' decisions have helped not engineer this last race decider, but brought us to Brazil with everything to play for.
Well, I think it's an important point. I think, you know, at the end of the day, I think Lewis Hamilton is deserving of this World Championship because there's been so much that's gone against him, and some of those decisions I certainly don't agree with. At the same time, I think Massa is warranted to be where he is in a situation of trying to win the World Championship today. Outstanding driver, had some fantastic results, and also been hurt with some situations. You know, not forgetting a couple of races ago where the pit lane fracas went on. But at the end of all of this, it's down to those two guys, and very different situations for them both. But underlining, Massa wins today, not a problem. Lewis can just sit back and watch it happen. He's just going to worry about winning the big title. He's looking at the big picture only.
It's a season that's brought so much new talent to the fore as well. We heard from Sebastian Vettel down there on the grid. We got shots also of Robert Kubica, who just a couple of races ago was in contention for the World Championship himself. He's finishing on a rather quiet note, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he just dropped out the limelight slightly there. But as I say, this season again has produced wins with Kubica, with Heikki Kovalainen, Sebastian Vettel. As you say, these are all stars of the future, and I think they've got tremendous ability. 2009 is a different deal. New set of regulations, new cars, biggest change in F1 technical regs for 20-odd years. So, you know, we're probably going to see some of those new guys and new stars with machinery which may well be capable of winning a World Championship.
Bernie surveys his empire, and we're glad to report that Ted Kravitz has made it back from the depths of the crowd to the grid. Let's go down to you, Ted.
Thank you, Stephen. Alan Permain from Renault. What's Fernando going to do today?
Hopefully have a great race and see how far he can go there, maybe get on the podium.
A lot of people have talked about him wanting to get involved in the championship. Have you told him expressly not to race for Renault today?
No, of course we haven't. He won't get involved, I'm sure. He's not going to do anything silly. He's going to race for us and race as quick as he can for us.
Thanks very much. Have a good race.
So let's go through the options for the race. First of all, fuel load. Ron Dennis, we were hearing earlier, very confident that Massa and Raikkonen are running very light. Are you as confident?
I'm not so sure about that. The interesting point for me is Truly's comments to Martin on the grid. The fact that he says, you know, we're pretty good on fuel. We've done a great lap. And if that is the case, if they have got the kind of fuel load on which is in similar areas to those frontline guys, then he really could be having a major effect in this race outcome today.
And Raikkonen's role, I mean, how wholehearted it is, I'm not sure, but he's got to bring Massa home as world champion.
Yeah, I mean, Massa's got to go out there and try and win this race, but Raikkonen's going to try and put himself in between Raikkonen and Hamilton, in between Massa and Hamilton. And if he can do that, and there's a couple of other cars there, you know, such as a Trulli, such as an Alonso, then all of a sudden Lewis has really got a bit of a hard task on his hands.
And then with Lewis there, in theory, behind Raikkonen as they get away, how does Raikkonen then back the field up and make things uncomfortable for Lewis?
It's quite easy to just try and, you know, dive yourself into a corner and make yourself a little bit wider. If you want to make yourself tough to overtake, you can do so.
Imagine how Lewis is feeling. Imagine how his father is feeling. Anthony Hamilton is with Louise.
Well, Steve's just been speculating on how you're feeling, Anthony. How are your nerves?
My nerves are in good shape, to be quite honest. You know, it's the last race of the season. You know, we got here on good merit. Nothing more we can do other than just hope we get a good start and have a good race. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed for my boy because I'm extremely proud of him.
You've just walked onto the grid with your boy. How's he feeling?
Really good. Loves the car, loves the circuit, and yeah, we're hoping to have a good day.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Thank you.
And how would you try to persuade Lewis this afternoon to keep things calm, keep things under control?
I think he can draw on experience, Steve. I really do. He's been in this situation before. There's a touch of deja vu today, but he's handling pressure a lot better over the last few Grand Prix, and the last one especially showed that. He knows what's needed today, and it's not a win. You know, that's the underlying factor here. He doesn't have to win this Grand Prix. All we've got to be concerned about is he doesn't get carried off into that first lap and first corner situation like we saw in Japan. I think he'll handle it a lot better, but, you know, I'm concerned about the likes of this guy here, Alonso. If he wants to put himself in a mix and become a little bit of a thorn in Lewis's side, he will do so very easily.
Because the resentment with Fernando against McLaren and against Lewis is fairly deep-rooted, isn't it?
Yeah, there's some friction there. There's no two ways about that. We saw a lot of that coming out towards the end of last season, but I would hope that Alonso doesn't put himself in a situation and be unsporting, but you never, ever know. And you know, we've seen so many unpredictable results come out of this season.
That umbrella at the moment is for the sun, but behind the main grandstand there are big black clouds, and maybe that promised rain isn't too far away, Mark.
Well, I think, again, everyone's looking up in the skies and trying to understand what is going to happen with the weather. But Sao Paulo is predictably variable with weather conditions. It's one of those cities where they say you get 4 seasons in a whole day. And as we are, I think that's quite possible to roll in.
Felipe Massa, well, he's the master of Interlagos, that's for sure. And he's a talent that's going to battle Lewis for quite a few years to come.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a great contender for the championship again in the future if he doesn't get it today. But this guy here, Lewis Hamilton, a remarkable talent. A couple of years he's been at it, and he looks like he's going to pull it off.
Well, let's hope so. It's been a season of, well, blunders as much as brilliance. Driver error, mistakes by pit crews, tactical misjudgments, some baffling decisions by those race stewards as well, which have penalised Lewis in particular. Now, what exactly is going to decide it? Massa against Hamilton, Brazilian Grand Prix, is moments away.